Hi there, my name is Dominic McDermott. I work full-time for the boss, well, for God. I just want to share with you about how that came about. So the last 15 years I've been working as a locksmith carpenter in 2 prisons, and again evangelizing in the prisons, running small groups of prisoners and staff. But then one day I was standing next to an oak tree near our works office, and the leaves began to fall off the tree, and every time that happened I heard out with the old, in with the new, and understood this related to my work. So I said, God, you want me to cut down a bit of work? And he said, no. When all the leaves on this tree are gone, you'll be gone too. And I said, gone or just gone? And he laughed at me and said, just gone. I said, well, you want me to find a new job? And he said, no, I'm planning something for you myself. Well, I thought I'd better tell the manager that I was going to be going. I was a locksmith and I was the only one for both prisons. So I went in and told him that I'm going to be leaving my job. And he said, when? I said, well, I don't know exactly. And he said, well, give me a clue, roughly when? I said, well, you see the oak tree just out here? When all the leaves on that tree are gone. And he said, what? Who told you that? I said, the boss. He said, oh, not the boss again. But anyway, I said, yeah, I will be going. I told my wife and she said the same thing. What? What about the bills? And I said, well, God's gonna give me a new job. And she made me promise, you won't leave until you get this new job. Now, I'd already said to God that I would only do what Alice and my wife was happy with, so I agreed not to leave until the new thing he got ready for me came up. I wasn't very happy about it, but I agreed it. Anyway, just recently after that, I received a prophecy from a friend of mine, 3 pages of good, solid word, but part of it was God saying, I'm going to provide for you financially. And shortly after that, he multiplied my wife's salary 4 times in 3 months. Until it got to the point where she said to me, Dominic, I think you should leave. I'm now earning only 7,000 less than what we were both earning at the beginning of the year. I think you could leave. So before this increase had happened, it became a bit of a thing in the prison that Dominic's going to leave his job and he's waiting for a new job when all the leaves of the oak tree are down. People used to ask me, are the leaves gone yet? From the other prison, and they couldn't see it. And are you really going to leave without a job? And I said, God will give me a job. So everybody knew about it. I even came back one day to the work office to find all my colleagues standing outside pulling the leaves off the tree saying, ha ha, what are you going to do now with no job? Anyway, I trusted God was going to do it, so I waited. On this day, when my wife finally said, I think you should leave, I was driving to work and praying, Lord, show me, should I leave now? Is this the time? And I came across temporary traffic lights. You know, they were digging up the road, put the temporary traffic lights on red, so I sat waiting and waiting and waiting. And eventually I thought, these lights are broken. I drove through the lights, and sure enough, the other side was also on red. So I'm driving along to work, still asking the question, Lord, what do you want me to do? Give me a sign, give me a sign. Came across another set of temporary traffic lights. This time there's a whole queue of cars waiting my side, and I wait, and I wait, and I wait. I think eventually this is broken like the last one. So I drive past the queue slowly, and all these guys, because they're English, are saying, what are you doing? There's a queue. And I think it's broken, sorry. And I get to the other side, sure enough, the other side's on red too. So now I wave them all through. Come on, it's broken. And I set off again, and I feel the Lord saying, Dominic, do you get the idea? Sometimes you have to make a way where there is no way. Okay, so I got to work, I go to see my manager and say, you know, I was telling you I was going to leave all those months ago. I'm handing in my notice formally today. I'm going. And he said, what? I haven't got a replacement locksmith. You're the only guy who can do the job. What am I going to do? And I said, well, I've been telling you for months. He said, I didn't believe you. I said, I kept telling you. And look, the tree, there's only a few leaves left. In the next couple of weeks, when I finish my leave, I'll be gone. He said, what shall I do about a locksmith? I said, I'll pray for you. And he said something I can't repeat, but to the effect, that's not going to help me very much. Anyway, I walked out the office. My colleague came up the stairs and said, hey, Dominic, have you heard the news? I thought, that's funny, I've got news to tell you. He said, our friend Andy, the old locksmith who left 10 months ago, quit his job last night, wants to come back here, but there's no space for him now, is there? I said, there is now. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'll tell you in a minute, stay there. Went back into my manager. And I said to my manager, I found somebody. And he said, what do you mean you found somebody? You've just walked out my office. I said, Andy used to do the job 10 months ago with me. He wants to come back. Will you have him back? Yes, please. Yes, please. What a coincidence. And I said, isn't it just when we pray a coincidence? So Andy came back, had his job back. 2 weeks later, last leaf came off the tree. I left and worked now full time for God, working for the unity of his body as he asked me.